to Her Life Unscripted podcast, inspiring burnt out, stressed out, and stretched thin women to embrace the unscriptedness of life. Hosted by Anna Osborne.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Her Life Unscripted episode 22. It is a beautiful day to be connecting with all of you. And it's so amazing. You know, the first 8 weeks of the podcast, I was putting out 2 episodes a week, and it was so fun to be able to have this just amazing energy behind the show and just hearing your guys' feedback and your perspectives and opinions about what we talked about via the SpeakPipe app. And it was just amazing. But now we've transitioned to, now that the 8 weeks have kind of passed and the launch has happened, we've transferred to a weekly show. And it's been really nice in some ways to be able to slow down a little bit and kind of dive into what you guys are sharing more and being able to really grow the show and grow the audience in a kind of a slowed down way. So it's really cool to be able to have both experiences. That really kind of big splash of a launch was fun, but it's also nice to be slowing down and connecting with you guys a little bit more individually, and also seeing the audience continue to grow. I really encourage you guys to share this podcast and be able to make sure you're subscribed to it so you get the updates every week when a new show goes live on Tuesday, but also so that you can share with your friends and family. It's been really cool to hear folks. I actually grabbed a salad during lunch the other day and ran into a friend, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I'm loving your podcast, and I've shared it with some friends and they're loving it too." And it was so amazing to hear because I didn't know she was listening. I'm excited to hear that she's listening. So hi, Carrie. Thank you so much for listening. But it was also fun to hear that she's sharing it and that it's really being able to grow the podcast. So I really encourage you guys to make sure you're subscribed, and also that you are sharing the podcast so that people can listen to it and we can really just continue to grow this amazing community. And I'm talking about a big topic today. I am talking about enoughness, which honestly, I don't even know if enoughness is a word. I should probably make sure that that's actually a word, but I don't think unscriptedness is either. And that's one word that we use all the time. So we're just going to go ahead and roll with enoughness. But I have, like you guys know, I've got 2 small kiddos, preschool age, 4.5-year-old twins. And I, in my work with clients, we talk about this need for unconditional acceptance and unconditional love. And I work a lot with couples. And so often when I'm working with couples, they will share stories about not experiencing unconditional love in kind of their family of origin, that they received love based on what they did or how they played or what grade they got, but things were really based on the achievements rather than just kind of like their being enough. And so that's obviously something that we know, that being able to be accepted for exactly who we are and having that experience of unconditional love as kids is just so hugely important. And so for my kids, ever since they were little, when they would do, just like a-hole things like hitting each other upside the head or, whatever, pushing each other, or whatever the case may be, is that when I would say, please don't do that, or, get frustrated by it, or whatever the case may be, I would always let them know afterwards, that I love you no matter what, that even when you make bad choices or do things that disappoint me, that I love you no matter what. And it just became this thing that we say kind of more often than I guess I thought I would as a parent. Now, granted, there's lots of things that I thought I wouldn't do it as a parent, like saying, "I told you so," or "because I said so," or those sorts of things. But one cool thing that I've noticed as a parent is being able to really let them know that no matter what, they are loved. And it really makes me think of this idea of enoughness, of there's so often in life that we put these qualifiers or these kind of parameters around when we can do certain things. And I know that we talked about it briefly in the interview with Laura Desviato. I don't know the episode. I think it was episode 13. I could be wrong, but I'll look. Making Our Life Sacred. But her interview was so amazing. But one of the things that just connected with me so much was this idea that so often, and I think especially as women, we will have these qualifiers that we put on ourselves that we can't do certain things until we've done certain things. And it can be as simple as, I'll eat my dessert after I've eaten my salad. Or it could also be, once I lose these 20 pounds, then I can treat myself to whatever, rather than saying, no, in this moment, I get to do whatever or be whatever because of just who I am, and that I don't need to achieve certain things or be certain things to be deserving of value and of, love. And so thinking about that, it kind of comes back to this idea of enoughness, right? Are we enough in the true essence of who we are, or do we need to be doing things to earn that? And I know it's something that I struggle with. I know that there's oftentimes where I am so critical or hard on myself, and it becomes more of like this character assassination rather than just being able to look at some of the choices I made and correct. And so I know that I'm not alone in that, because obviously, I know I struggle with it at times, but also because I see it happen in the psychotherapy room, right? Where people will feel like they can't do certain things in their relationship, or they can't be certain things because A, they haven't had an experience where they've been unconditionally loved for just who they are, but also because they feel like they have to achieve certain things in order to be worthy or deserving of love from their partner. And so I want to just spend some time talking about that today, and kind of break down some of the real big fundamentals around it, but also being able to just talk about this really giant topic and how we can fall prey to it. So that's kind of what's on our agenda today. And before I go any further, I keep telling myself to remind you guys of this, but I want to encourage you to be able to go over to the website, herlifeunscripted.com, and click on the retreats tab. And at the very bottom, you'll see a form to fill out that for your name and name and email address. And go ahead and fill that out, because we've got some amazing live events where we're actually talking about some of these topics like enoughness and doing some awesome experiential exercises to be able to really move to a place of unconditional love for ourselves and others. And so I want you to fill that out so that when I have all the nitty-gritty details on dates and locations, I'll be able to share that with you guys, and you'll be able to get it in real time. So it's a random place to throw it in the podcast, but I know I'll forget to tell you. And I've been having to write down notes to remind myself, because I just get rolling and so excited and I forget to do it. And I don't want you guys to miss out, because, these live events are going to be amazing. So, okay. Let's come back to this idea of enoughness, right? And I think that I want to lay down some kind of primary foundational stuff when we think about enoughness. So this idea of unconditional acceptance is something, and unconditional love is something that we're kind of hardwired for. Well, we're not kind of hardwired. We are hardwired for unconditional love and unconditional acceptance, right? This need to be attached. And we know that the need for attachment is so important when it comes to kids, right? For child and primary caregiver, whether that's mom or dad or grandma or whoever the primary caregiver is, that there is this need for child to be securely attached to primary caregiver. And it can be more than one person, right? It can be mom and dad, right? It can be grandma and grandpa, whoever are the main people in their lives that are providing care. There needs to be this healthy attachment in order for them to be able to explore the world confidently, right? That if they know that they are unconditionally loved and that attachment is there no matter what, they can be more confident in exploring the world and kind of developing their personality. Well, I think a couple things happen. I think one, unfortunately, there are children, some of you may be listening, who experience this growing up, where you don't get that unconditional love, right? That secure attachment isn't there for whatever reason, whether it's, mom and dad fighting their own demons or lots of other things, but that unconditional love was not there. And so that secure attachment doesn't get rooted in the ways that we want it to. And then throughout life, we kind of are unsure whether or not we can move about the world confidently, because we don't know if we move or explore if we will fail and not be picked up and kind of brushed off in a very soft and nurturing way. But I think the other thing that happens is that over time, we get these messages, and man, we get them so intensely from the outside world, but we get these messages that as we grow up, we no longer need that attachment, right? That our need to be connected, our need to have that attachment between primary caregiver and child goes away, and that we can kind of just be confident in the world no matter what. And the truth is that we actually need it throughout our entire life. John Bowlby, the creator of attachment theory, that he really said that we need that attachment from cradle to grave, right? From when we are born to when we die, we are hardwired within our DNA to be connected. And that oftentimes we, like I said, we discredit that. We think we've grown up, we need to move into a place of complete independence rather than recognizing the healthiness of a healthy interdependency, right? We so often hear these words of dependent or codependent, and we just shove them away thinking that they're absolutely, toxic and unhealthy. But the truth is that we need to have that healthy interdependency within our primary relationship with our intimate partner, typically, as we obviously age and couple up, and that's really important to have a soft landing. And I know that oftentimes that soft landing can be something that can be disrupted in our relationships. Obviously, you guys know that I work primarily with couples and individuals around areas of relationships, and so that need for a soft landing is something that really, really is important for us to create in our adult relationships too. But the reason we're talking about it today is because it really does connect with that enoughness, right? That we, when we see ourselves through the eyes of our partner, or we look at ourselves, when we look at our kids, that when we look at ourselves through the eyes of our partner, or when we as parents look at our children through our eyes, we want to feel and have them feel that they are enough no matter what. And like I said, I know this is something that can be difficult because it's an ongoing battle for some folks. But the ways that I ground myself in my enoughness is that as a mom, and I know that there are so many folks out there that are parents, and there's folks out there that want to be parents, and unfortunately they are not able to have children of their own. And there's also people out there that do wonderful, amazing things like adoption and foster care, and they have found ways to be parents. And it's just this beautiful, amazing, yet heartbreaking path that we all find to being attached and being parents. But from my perspective, when as a mom looking at my kids, that I do love them no matter what, and that even when they make jerky decisions, I still unconditionally love them, right? I'm not judging them based on the choices they make, because sometimes, they're human, they screw up. And if I'm able to offer that unconditional love and acceptance to my kids, no matter what they do, then the touchstone that I have in amongst it is that, can't I be able to offer myself the same? Right? Like if I am so willing to unconditionally accept my kids for exactly who they are, bumps and warts and all, and that their being is enough, that same thing then I'm deserving of, that I am enough, because no matter my warts and my bumps and my failures and my poor choices, that my being has to be enough if I know that my kids are enough. And so that's really how I connect it for myself, because I think it can be such an ambiguous term of what is this enoughness, right? And how do we know if we're enough? And the truth is we're all enough. That every single one of you listening right now is enough. And no matter what you do in your life, you will always be enough. And so my hope, as you guys are listening to this today, is that you're able to find ways to stop the hamster wheel. If you find yourself trapped on it, this hamster wheel of doing in order to be, of achieving in order to be enough, I hope that you're able to find some ways to at least slow down the hamster wheel in hopes that you'll be able to jump off of it. And so I would love to hear from you guys of how you're able to do that, because like I said, I know it's something that I'm constantly trying to improve at. But for me, it's being able to look at the people around me, whether it's my kids or my family or my partner, ways that I unconditionally accept them for who they are, no matter what has happened. And so how do I then extend myself that same gift, right? And that whether or not you have family that you can count on, right? Because sometimes, unfortunately, we don't. And no matter if you have kids or not, that I guarantee you that there are things in your life, there are people in your life that you unconditionally accept for who they are, right? It can be even your fur babies, right? That you unconditionally accept them for who they are. And so if you are doing that for others, then let's do it for ourselves too. Like that would be so amazing, right? That there wouldn't be any question that we can't do that for ourselves because we are so able and willing to do it to others. So that's kind of my thoughts on enoughness, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts with enoughness. And honestly, where have you gotten stuck, right? Like what are these things that you put up in order to be barriers to allowing yourself to just enjoy the moment right now? And I know for me in the past, it's definitely been around things like clothing sizes and weight and all those just toxic demons that can be so slippery, but that it doesn't matter kind of what size we are or what we look like or whether or not, we washed our hair this morning, that in this moment we're enough. And I think that's a really, really cool thing to be able to offer, other people, but it's so much more amazing when we offer it to ourselves. And it's just really cool to see what happens in life when we're able to do that. So I hope you're all listening today, and that when I ask this question, are you enough? You're able to just emphatically say yes, because I hope that it's just a instantaneous, visceral response, because it is so true. But I also know that that's not the truth for everybody. I know there are lots of people that struggle with being enough and knowing that they are enough. And so my hope for those of you that are listening right now that don't know if you're enough, or it's something that you've doubted or struggled with, that you're able to really start a very, very intentional practice around seeing the ways that you unconditionally accept other people, and be able to start doing that for yourself. Because believe me, it is powerful when we do it, and it's life-changing, because when we start doing it to ourselves, we actually start finding more people around us that we're able to demonstrate that with. And it's a really, really cool thing. So that's what we're talking about today. Enough, being enough, and that no matter what we have in this moment, we are enough. So I am excited to be able to share that with you. I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. And I'd love to hear what some of your obstacles have been to enoughness. And I really encourage you guys too to hop over to, like I said, the website, to be able to sign up for our email list for the retreats, so that you'll get all the information as those those live events go live. But also episode 15, that's the one with Dr. Lourdes Viado, where we talk about making our lives sacred, and this idea of enoughness is talked about. So I really encourage you guys to listen to that episode too, if you haven't already. Her interview is just so beautiful and just so full of wisdom, and just, it's amazing. You guys will love it. But I'd love to hear your guys' perspective too on how you are creating a sense of enoughness in your life. And if it's something that you're struggling with, what are you doing to break that cycle and get off that hamster wheel? So thank you so much for listening. Please do share the episode and share the podcast, so we can continue to grow our audience. And I just am so appreciative of your guys' time and energy and all your love and support. It has really been making this a journey super amazing. So thank you, all of you, for listening and for allowing me into your worlds and into your hearts. And I'm just super excited to be connecting with you. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.
Want to learn about the latest retreats, workshops, and speaking events hosted by Anna? Head over to herlifeunscripted.com to get in on all the juicy details. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast so we can continue to grow our amazing audience. Lastly, be sure and send in your voice feedback via the SpeakPipe app or to Anna@herlifeunscripted.com. We can't wait to hear from you.